Welcome to the Boss Woman Network podcast, the space where real stories fuel bold moves, business, and life. Today's guest is Miss Jen Heuett, founder of the Small Wins Company. She has over 17 years of experience in marketing, strategy, systems, and client experience. Jen has evolved from agency life to solo strategist to resilient business owner. She now helps others map out momentum and align their business with the version of success that feels right to them. Her journey is one of growth and choosing herself. Even when things are uncertain, Jen, we are so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So let's dive in. You've had a long and evolving career strategy in marketing. Can you walk
Yes,
us through the journey that led you to the Small Wins Company?
yes, absolutely. I think it started really early. I was preparing for this podcast and I was like, you know what? I actually think I was a strategist from a really young age. So I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was always in a position that had to make the strategic moves. So I was on the volleyball team, I was the setter. When I played softball, I was the catcher. When I was in soccer, I was the goalie. So I always had this really big part of a team. And I loved that I was involved probably the most, or it was a very crucial position in a team. And I remember I loved being that because I could help win a game by being strategic in different plays. And I connected the dots back to my teen years and younger years. And I go, I've always been a natural strategist. I've always been able to map out the end result or the goal and then work backwards. And it was funny to make that connection back to my days in sports.
Yeah.
And I think my whole journey before going into business, I worked in hospitality and tourism for a really long time. And I realized early on that I loved getting to know people. I loved connecting to a whole bunch of different people. I was very lucky after university to travel the world quite a lot. And in doing so, I realized that marketing is listening, marketing is getting to know people and understanding what their needs are. And in hospitality, as a server, as a bartender, or receptionist, whatever you're doing, you have to listen very attentively to be able to listen between the lines of what people want, whether they're happy or they're upset. And you learn sales, you learn adapting into fast environments, you adapt to an environment that is never stable.
Mm.
And all of those things that I did in the hospitality and tourism industry really prepared me for that next chapter in building businesses. So I did a lot of work as a marketing and social media manager before, and I went to school for marketing
Okay.
before social media was around. So it was back in the day when Facebook only allowed you to be on Facebook when you had a university email. So
Really? I didn't know
yeah,
Facebook was like that. How long?
yeah,
When did
yeah,
Facebook come out then, if it was like
yeah.
that?
2007, I think, or 2008.
Really? I did
Like
not know
2000.
that. So you had to be a
Yeah.
college student to be on
Yeah.
Facebook at one point.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when I graduated uni. And so social media and social media marketing wasn't around, wasn't huge. We were just still in the MySpace era. And I learned very quickly once I started traveling that I just really enjoy being with people. I'm an extrovert to the 10th power. I, I get a lot
That
of
is
energy from
definitely
people.
the best business to be in if you're an extrovert.
Yep. So, yeah, I think all of that experience accumulated into really navigating me towards owning a business, but also being in an agency. And again, just learning and listening to the people's and businesses' needs. I went from an agency, it was a smaller agency, but working in that managing people, realizing that my zone of genius isn't managing people, it's definitely strategy,
Mm.
marketing. And the more that I worked with clients, realized they actually need help in the operational side of business to help them understand how to use marketing in their business. Because what was happening is we'd build this beautiful marketing strategy and we'd train the team or show them how to implement it. And then you'd be done. Your contract is done. And that project would just fall through the cracks because they didn't have the support system in place to do their marketing consistently. Sometimes it was, oh, I didn't know that marketing, doing all of this, it's a consistent budget. It's not just a one-off. Or people would get really confused on the fact that they can't do everything. They've got to have people in place to help them establish their marketing consistently. So after the agency and I opened up the Small Wins company on my own, I realized there is a really good piece of real estate online that many business owners or people who work as a business strategist like I did weren't helping people set up their operations, like the systems, the people, the tools, and the know-how to then have marketing be a consistent arm of their business. So I moved from that agency side saying, great that we're doing strategies, great that we're working with a whole bunch of different people, but we weren't tackling the bigger picture and the
Mm,
bigger issue, which is people don't understand systems, people don't understand how to operate or run a business as much as we thought they did. They're not getting their marketing results because they don't have the systems in place to be consistent. And that's what marketing needs above all things is consistency. We can't hear something once and expect people to
to get it.
buy or retain it. You know?
Right.
We've got to spread our message consistently several times now. And so now I play in between the back of the house and the front of the house. So I help with establishing that operational side before they jump into launching, marketing, and utilizing that money appropriately so that they don't waste it.
So give me an example of starting with the back side. Like what type of business have you worked with that you helped them start from scratch? Basically, that's what you're saying, right? Scratch.
Yeah, sometimes I even established businesses, we all start a business based
Mhm.
on our skills.
Right.
So most people that I've known, and I've worked with almost 1,000 businesses now, don't start a business based on a business manager, business operations background. They start it because they don't like the 9 to 5. They need that flexibility. They hated their boss. They wanted to go out on their own. And so they start from a technical skills side. They don't start from a business management side.
Mm,
So go into owning a business thinking, okay, I'll write a to-do list and I'll get jobs done and put myself out there and do this. We're transitioning from an employee to a business owner, but we're not learning what that means and the skills that are needed to manage a business. We're taking our technical skills and then putting out to the world. Businesses that are even 15, I've worked with multiple businesses that are 10, 15 years in that have horrendous systems in place because they started it from scratch. They started it knowing how to help people, but the business operation side, they didn't know how to set up a full business.
mhm,
So the systems are lacking. So they're still doing so much manual work. They're not understanding how to hire appropriately. And so they're still stuck in that 60-hour work week
mm,
because they didn't learn how to manage and run a business. And yeah, I've worked with multiple people who have started from scratch, but it's the ones that are 4 or 5 years in that want to do something new or build a new arm of their business, go next level, have a next chapter, and try to evolutionize their business, realize that how they started their business and how it's set up is no longer going to help them get to that next level they want to get to.
mm.
So yeah, it's really fascinating to see how people actually set up their business. And majority of the time, it's just all manual. It's whatever they knew at that time, but
Mm.
they've never gone back to their business structure or foundations and be like, you know what, we can revamp these to help do the heavy lifting of our work. It's both people just starting out, but majority of the people that I've worked with are the ones that have realized the way they set up their business might not be working for them now.
That's a great thing that you mentioned because a lot of the people that my target market are entrepreneurs or people that are just getting started in business, people that may have been in business for a few years. A lot of us don't have business systems in place. Can you give us some examples of what type of business systems that you're talking about? Because I'm pretty sure there's some other people out there. What kind of systems I may need help with?
There's several. One is setting up just payment systems, so accounting systems, so you can do finance side. When you onboard a client, every step of that process is manual. So you can have a tool that helps deliver contracts, sets up meetings, sends invoices, sends meeting notes or coaching notes, sends replays of videos. So you can have certain tools and processes that help do that heavy lifting, like I said, to
Oh,
move your client down that process without you saying, okay, they've signed up. Now I have to manually write out my contract every single time, send it to them, then get them to sign it, move it to a folder. Now I send the invoice. I manually write the invoice every time and
oh
I send
goodness.
it. So there's quite a lot of manual work that happens when systems aren't set up. There are tools now that can help download that video from your video platform into a Google folder that they already have access to. We've got the AI note takers now
Right.
that we don't have to take notes anymore and then write them, which is fantastic
It
for
is.
anybody who's in the service-based business. Like, oh, there are ways in which systems aren't just tools. Systems are made up of digital tools, people, processes, and now AI. And what all of those things do together is help a system actually run. And what a system does is it creates the same exact result every single time. And when we start businesses or move into it a few years into it, we realize we're still doing so much of it manually. When you're not producing the same result every single time, it's hard for you to create messaging and content and social proof because you're not creating a baseline result for
Exactly.
clients. So you're like, well, oh, what do I actually do? How could I actually help? And when you don't have a process in place, it's hard to explain and talk to people about how you deliver your work, how to work with you. So if it's how to work with you is okay, my onboarding process is super easy. What we do is we have a 15-minute chat, make sure everything's great. I set you up with your client folder. You will be emailed your first invoice and a calendar link to set up your first meeting. And then from there, you will be invited to a Slack channel or a client portal, whatever. That's easy to explain. If
Right.
I didn't have a client onboarding system, I would be like, okay, let's just jump on a call and we'll talk about it. Like, I need people love information. They love to know the next step. They love to know what they're getting out of it. And it also just helps, if, especially if it's a big investment, helps with their nerves of spending that big amount of money, knowing what they're getting in the process. They can be prepared and make sure that it's the right fit for them. And so when you can't give them information on a process or how you deliver your work or results, and you have to change that up every time, that's a lot of
That
wasted
is
time.
definitely a lot of wasted time. That's a lot of work.
So systems just, again, help you not only do a lot of things in your business, because also systems help with automations. They help
Yeah. Yes.
deliver outputs, deliver work.
Yes. That keeps you from really having to hire a lot of employees if you have automation set up.
Exactly. And that's like the new rule, right? Is
Mhm.
automate first and then delegate
Yeah.
or outsource. And I just find it fascinating to see businesses still in the day-to-day of their tasks doing these very menial things that Like you're the business owner. You should be doing $1,000 tasks, not $5 tasks. And again, it comes down to a few things. One, maybe control, but other is just not knowing
Right.
how to manage and operate a business from a business owner standpoint. They're
Mm,
running it as an employee, not as a business owner. The confidence and the know-how that they don't have to do everything. Systems are not scary. They are non-negotiable in business. And that the more time you can free up, the more creative brain space you have, the more business development time you have, the more client relationship time you have.
that's so true.
And yeah, and so systems are honestly, I think, are just the most incredible things we can set up for our businesses because it gives us the freedom we wanted in the first place when we started a business.
So true. Okay. So on the marketing side, what are those systems that you put in place? Are you creating funnels or
Mhm.
email
Yep. So they
newsletters?
definitely. So you can do marketing system as in, say, a content repurposing system. So
Mm,
you can build one that, let's say, you do email newsletters, and that's your once a week marketing activity that you do. So in order for that to go out, you can repurpose that into probably 20 to 30 pieces of content. So your system for content repurposing would be, okay, who's involved? So who are the people involved in that content repurposing system? Maybe it's you, maybe an assistant, maybe you have a content creator, and maybe it's just you. So who's the people involved? What are the processes that you go through in order to repurpose that content and schedule it out? What are the tools involved to help you repurpose that content and schedule it out? And then what are like the documents or AI that's needed in order to do that? So that's what a system is. It's all
mhm,
those things
mhm.
working together to create that result. And so you could say, okay, I've got my email newsletter. My process is once I've written that, my assistant goes in and pulls out 5 quotes, 5 graphics, 5 voiceovers I could do, and 5 B-roll pieces that I then go and film. I batch create that, I upload it, and they put it into Canva for me, and they create the content, and then I just approve, and they'll schedule it out using a scheduling tool. So now you've created the newsletter, but you have an assistant helping you with the content creation aspect. So all of that time you write the email, you batch create the content, and then you approve instead of writing the email, figuring out all the pieces that are going to come out of it, writing all the captions, creating all the graphics, editing all the videos, and then scheduling them out manually to each
Mm,
platform. See how
mm.
much more work that is?
Yeah, that's a lot more work.
Yeah. So it's systems are there to, yeah, not only eliminate busy work, but show you the gaps and opportunities where you can use automations or delegate to somebody. Because again, the editing the videos or creating the graphics, I know a lot of us, I still do that because I enjoy it, but
Me
there are
too.
things that business owners that don't like to do, and a
Mhm.
lot of them content is a big one. So
Yeah,
if you do have the means and like your priorities are, I'm my zone of genius is elsewhere, then part of that system is delegating or outsourcing, even
right.
just the tiniest bit, to help you free up your time to do what you love, not get into the messy middle of content creation and hating it. Because when we do that, what happens? We don't create content. It goes in the too hard basket. And so we're not consistent with our marketing. So having
Yeah,
those systems set up, even if you have to do everything yourself for now, you still have that system and process set up. So it's very easy for you to train somebody to come in and do that. So yeah, that's an example of a marketing system that I use.
I love it. Now that really explained everything that you do. So for the average business owner that didn't understand, I'm pretty sure they understand now because you really broke it down for us on both
Yeah.
sides, the back end and the front end. So that makes
Mm.
a lot of sense. And you are helping the company win like that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So I see you talk about burnout and breakdowns and
Mm,
messy middle seasons. How did you
mm.
navigate through the hardest times?
Support, external support, and trying new things.
Mm.
So, burnout is the result of keeping yourself in the messy middle of business. The messy middle is doing things that you don't love, but doing it for money because you need to pay bills
Right.
or because you're known for a thing. I was known for social media marketing for a really long time. So I kept doing it because it paid the bills, it built me a lifestyle, it used skills that I have, but I didn't love it. And so
Mm.
it drained me. So I was in the messy middle multiple times in my business. I know lots of business owners can relate to this of building a business known for one thing, but you want to then branch out and do something new. And the staying in the messy middle of not making that decision to branch out, but still do the work that doesn't light you up
Right.
creates this really weird energy that you no longer enjoy your business. You no longer love showing up. It's just I don't want to say coasting, but you're just showing up because you have to show up, not because you want to. And so when you live in that for a really long time of wanting change, but you don't have the headspace or the time to build what's next, it creates a really terrible energy because you are drained mentally, physically, emotionally, because you're not living that true self. You're not living that the how you started your business was for freedom and time and doing what
Right.
you want, doing what you love. You no longer are doing that. You're chained to this side of your business. So when you're in the messy middle of really wanting to take on that next opportunity, but you don't, the shame, the guilt, I won't say embarrassment, but the why am I not doing what I want to do conversation just runs
Mhm.
in your head over and over again. And so then you don't show up with your content. You don't market your business. You don't go do things outside of work. The gym, you order takeout more. There's so many things that happen when you don't align yourself, your true self, with what you want to do. Like it's just a trickle effect in your life. So then
Yeah.
that leads to burnout. That leads to, I can't do this anymore. I can't move. I don't want this business. Then you start looking at jobs, this whole vicious cycle of self-sabotage, and then burnout happens,
Yeah.
to the point where your body just gives up, you get sick, you're really tired. So in those moments, it's hard to explain, but you have to get through them. And there's different ways in which people can or feel their best when they are at their worst. And that is, for me, actually asking for help is
Mm.
doing well mentally. My business isn't doing well because I'm not doing what I love. And I just need that support right now. I need to just talk about it. I need to get it out of my head. And luckily, I have a very supportive boyfriend and a loving family. I have business friends as well who've definitely been in this position before. So
Mm.
I just reached out to my closest business friends and talked about it. And the instant relief that you get by getting it out of your brain is so important and wonderful because you no longer own it. It's
Mm.
out there, it's gone, it's done, it's off your shoulders, it's out of your head, it's out of your body.
Wow.
And once you're aware of it and you've spoken about it, you know that what needs to change.
So that was
We
your
all know.
turning point when it was time to
Yep,
quit.
I knew. I
Mm.
knew. I was like, okay, it's now or never. It's get a job. It's quit this business of 5.5 years that you love, that you've built with your own two hands, or get a job and do the 9 to 5, clock off, have a weekend every single weekend. But for me, it was like, no, I know in my heart that impacting businesses and helping them build impact is far greater than me getting a 6-figure 9 to 5. And so it takes a while, so don't be hard on yourself. Be kind. That's number one. But also remember that you have built your business and you've gone through so much already, and you haven't lost and you have not given up. And that to me is all of that is success, right? Those are all the small wins of
Yeah,
knowing that I've made it all the way here. Why can't I make it past this? So just reminding yourself that you truly are such a resilient and determined person because you decided one day to go out and start your own business and you did it. So if you can do that, you can get through this.
love that.
And yeah, that's what I did. Is just reminding myself, one, this is not forever. This moment, not forever. And I will get through this just like I got through everything else. And it gets you to make moves, start tiny steps. Maybe it was one task a day.
Yeah.
Maybe it was brainstorming new ideas, new opportunities, maybe having one conversation. But I never made myself do huge things in those
Mm,
moments. Very
mm.
small.
Small
Yeah.
steps, but you kept going.
Yep.
I love it. So,
Definitely.
so what helped you rebuild your confidence like after long stretches without clients or cancel
Mm.
projects?
Yeah. So that was this last year in 2024. I had a long-term client cancel their contract, and then I ended up going home for 4 months. And in that time, I had barely any work. That was my biggest burnout that I've had. And for me, moving through that, building the confidence after being kicked down mentally, it was the moment when I realized that I have moved to New Zealand, where I live now, by myself on a one-way ticket when I was in my
Wow.
mid-20s. Yeah. And I have done so many hard things in my life. And why couldn't I get through this one? So for me, I looked at burning out or not having clients as the best excuse to finally align what I want to do and my business with the future I want. I was like, this is actually a golden ticket. I reframed
Mm,
it saying, oh, I am stressed to the max right now and money's not coming in. But you know what? This is it. I asked for this success. I asked for this business. I asked for this freedom. And now it's literally in my hands to now mold it to how I want it to be for the future. I've learned all these lessons. I've done all this work. Now let's actually put it into play and make it into something that is so aligned with your bigger vision that you can't say no.
mm,
It was the absolute confidence builder knowing that I have that opportunity. I have created the space, even though it felt very negative and very stressful, but life had created that space for me to take on new opportunities. And it was absolutely wild what happened after I allowed myself that permission
mm.
to just
Everything
take
just
on new.
took off because you were aligned in your purpose.
I think as my eyes and my being, my heart, my mind were all open to that new chapter.
Mm,
I was not holding myself back whatsoever. I was not putting myself into a box. I wasn't setting random boundaries around what and who and where. It was things are coming my way and I'm going to be ready for them.
mm. I love that.
Mm.
So tell me, what is the 12-month momentum roadmaps that you have for clients? What does that
Mm,
process look like and why is it so effective?
yes. So the first part about that is exactly what I had just gone through is realigning your vision to your new version of success. So what I realized as well going through that burnout, creating those new opportunities was My vision and version of success is so much different than year two, Jen, year one, Jen. So much different because when we start our business, money is a huge driver, as in, I want to hit six figures first year. I want to hit six figures. I want to keep six figures. I want to hit seven figures. Money is a huge driver for a lot of business owners. But as you get into business and you start seeing those results that you're getting for your clients, your impact and your vision changes a little bit more. Maybe it's, yeah, it's great to have money, but I actually don't want to work. I want to work 3 days a week. I want to work from wherever I can. Maybe I want to go live in Italy for 6 months. Maybe I want to be there for, if you have kids, I want to be there to take them to school
Yeah,
and drop them off every single day. I want to make dinner, or I want us to have family dinner 3 nights a week. Whatever it is, your vision and version of success has changed since day one of your business.
true.
And so the first part of that roadmap is realigning your vision of where you want to take your business, because it might not be money driven anymore, or that priority is money driven. Now it's maybe I want to help 1,000 women start their business, or I want to help 1,000 women hit a certain milestone. And we have to take that time to realize, okay, maybe I've been doing a lot of service work, as in coaching, but I really am ready to build a membership or a retreat, or I'm actually ready to build a product. I want to create a journal, or I want to create a business book. Every single business owner has a genius idea in the back of their head that they've been swirling around for, I would say, at least a year, maybe two, that they've put on the back burner because they either don't have time to bring it to life, they're scared to bring it to life, because a lot of the times it's much bigger than they are. It's their
Yeah,
dreams, next level, right? Next
right.
chapter in business. And so they keep it hidden. So the part of that 12-month roadmap, that first bit is getting that out and allowing people to give themselves permission to start that work. So that
Mm.
12-month roadmap starts with realigning your vision to that bigger purpose and including that next chapter in it. So we start off with momentum straight away because it's a little bit scary, it's a little bit nervous to finally say that out loud, what you want to achieve and where you want to go with your business. But once we go from building that roadmap of here's what I want, here's what it looks like, and here's how we're going to get there. And this is what we're going to do in the 12 months. So you're very clear on the step-by-step instructions, the milestones, the work that you need to do to get there. It eliminates a lot of the worry and a lot of the stress of, where do I start? Should I be making this shift right now? What does it actually look like? This is helping you just start making progress on that project and building that business that you truly want. So you've got very clear step-by-step instructions of what to do.
Mm.
So people feel much more confident in knowing that they can achieve what they want because it's right in front of them.
So basically, you help them figure out exactly which direction they are aligning with because they may have a lot of things they want to do, but you're helping them narrow it down in that process.
Yep. Yes, and it's also, I'm somebody who likes to do a million things as well,
Mhm.
and I have lots of different skills that I like to use in my business. So I don't just help with systems and operations, I also help with launching and love helping with offer development and mindset. So I don't like them to be tied down. What I like them to do is the vision of, okay, you want to do coaching, digital products, a retreat, an adult coloring book, or
Right.
mindset journal, whatever you want to do. How does that tie in with your bigger vision? How does all of that tie in to where you want to take your business? And so that takes a bit of time because we get stuck in the middle of doing the work, not going above bird's eye view overview of how it looks together. How do all five of those things that you want to do work towards that vision, work
Mm.
towards the future of your business? So that kind of in itself helps people eliminate things that don't align with where they want to go.
Okay.
So that helps a lot. That exercise in itself helps a lot because we get
Makes
really
sense.
excited, new ideas, shiny object syndrome, but once we figure out where we want to go in business,
It
that's our
doesn't.
north.
It makes sense.
Easy to say, does this fit within my idea? Is this
Yeah.
part of the North Star? Nope. Okay. Set to the side.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the second part of that is going into the systems. So now you have this big vision. Now you have a roadmap for the next 12 months. How are you going to get there? Because maybe you're already maxed out in time. Maybe you have a very limited time because you've got kids or you're taking care of your grandparents or you have other responsibilities. The time that you are utilizing for your business, is it the right way? Is it the right work that you're doing? And a lot of the time, so we do an audit, we do a systems and time audit. Majority of the time is not spent on the work priority work, the needle moving work. It's very small day-to-day stuff. So when we do that audit, we look at how systems can be integrated to help them do that small work or help them, again, like I said, with the processes and automating tasks. How can we use systems to simplify our business to create space to work on that new thing? So, how can we do that? And a lot of the times it comes down to removing yourself from the small tasks, adding some automations, getting rid of a lot of work, and getting rid of big time suckers like context switching. So, utilizing too many tools, utilizing too many tabs, or you're trying to run a business on 55 platforms and
That's
apps.
a lot.
So just like looking at how can we simplify and streamline your business and how can systems help with running your business so that you have that time to work on that new, updated, bigger vision. And that's the hard one because this is where people realize, wow, I don't have a lot set up in my business that's working for me. And to scale the business to that new vision and that next level, that next chapter of business, I've got to do a lot of work. And that's also another version of the messy middle is you're building what's next. And so it requires a lot of grit, a lot of patience, and a
I bet.
lot of kindness to yourself because you realize that you may not have set things up in a way that was the best way. You
Right.
might realize, oh, I've been spending a lot of money on these subscriptions and I'm not using them.
Yeah,
So
frustration.
there's a lot of frustration that could come up, but this is your biggest deep work is we're not going to that space of shame or self-sabotage. We're going into the space of new opportunities and new light. And doing that, you have to be in that headspace of knowing that you're just building what's next. This isn't the end. This isn't the last chapter. So if you can reframe your mindset to be more excited and know this is the deep work to help align that new chapter, new vision, it's almost like natural momentum and
You know what
somewhere.
direction?
Yeah, it might be uncomfortable, but that's growth. And we know that because we're business owners. So it's almost like its own natural milestone in itself is, ooh, I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel very good. This sucks. But ooh, I've had this feeling before. It means I'm growing.
Mm, true.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I got one more question for you. You said something about you're big on delivering industry-leading client experiences. What are
Mhm.
the top one or two things that business owners overlook in this area?
Definitely in the onboarding process for a client experience, people assume too much. So they assume their clients know where to go. They assume their clients know how to prepare. They assume that they have all the information that they need. They assume their clients read every email. So, one of the biggest things that you can improve your client experience is preparing your clients, like over preparing your clients. So, what I mean is, really good example is if you're in the photographer or videographer, if you're doing content, and let's say I hire you to do a photo shoot and you send over the contract, the first deposit invoice, that's great. And then we set up the date and the location, but then you don't send me anything after that. So I don't know how to prepare my run sheet photo of my outfits. I don't know how to practice posing. I'm nervous. So what are some tips that you can give me to help calm my nerves? What are some
Mm.
posing tips? What do I need to bring to the shoot? Where's my checklist? How are we going to run the day? So there's so much that you can prepare a client to feel really confident knowing they're going into working with you, that you have taken care of them. So that's number one, is take care of your clients. Number two is offboarding. So one part of the client experience that I see is, okay, once the project's done, you might get a thank you email, and then can you fill out the survey or feedback, and then done. No longer talking to them. When in reality, that person that just had a wonderful experience with you is your best referral, is
True.
your best next client. So, what are your other services that are a perfect fit for them? Upsell them, talk to
Mm.
them about how you can continue working with them, but also keep in contact and surprise and delight. So, a good example is I have a VIP day service where we map out your launch or program in a day. And after I we do that day, we have a 2 week and a 1 month check-in. And in that 2 week and 1 month check-in, I am listening for things that I can prepare and give to them later. So one of my clients, she was launching for the very first time her group program, and I know she didn't have any launch resources together. So what I did is I sent her a launch planning checklist and a program weekly audit. So every week that she's in her program, I want her to audit. How did everybody get through the program materials? What were the questions? What are you going to do different next time? So I had those and I gave those resources to her when I knew she was launching. So it's not about offboarding and letting them go. It's nurturing them and keeping them in your bubble, because you never know. If you do that right, your client retention rate will be insane.
That's true.
And like I've worked with clients 8 times now. Some of them have paid me a lot of money. And so I don't have to go out and get new clients all the time because I nurture the ones that I have. And it makes it a lot easier to have that consistent income, to work with people you love and you know you can get results for. So
Mm.
offboarding is such a missed marketing opportunity.
Yeah, it
So
is. I
yeah, at
agree.
first prepare and take care of your clients from day one. Go overboard, over deliver in that onboarding process. Make them feel taken care of and that the money they invested in you is well worth it. And two, on the offboarding, surprise and delight as well.
I was just going to ask you what advice would you want to give to the next woman that's in business, but that was it right there, the onboarding and the offboarding, because
Yes.
that's very important.
Yes.
Preparing them in the beginning and making them feel at home at the end, like they can reach back out to you for, and it may
Yeah.
not even be a paid service when you're helping them when they're
Oh,
offboarding.
yep.
So just keeping them satisfied.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess that'll be the end of this particular podcast session because we looks like we can go on and talk forever.
Yeah.
So how can our listeners connect with you and learn more about the Small Wins Company?
Yeah. I'm most active on Instagram, so at the Small Wins Co. And anybody is interested at the moment in getting out of the messy middle and taking that next step to their next level in business, I have a 6-month group program starting in June, and that's called Next Level Ops. And so, what we do over the 6 months is we create that space in your business by simplifying your systems, building that roadmap, and then getting that next chapter launch ready. So, after that 6 months, your next chapter is ready to go.
Love it. Y'all
Yeah.
heard that? One more time. How do they find you?
At Instagram at
The Small Wins Co. All right. Thank you, Jen, for being honest about your highs, the lows, and the rebuild. Your story
mm,
reminds us of like a messy season that still holds momentum. And small
mm,
wins are the real magic. So until next time, showing up for yourself, keep building with heart, and keep choosing your version of success. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Boss Women Network podcast. And thank you, Jen, for being a guest on the show.
of course. Thank you.
Bye.